Welcome to the Acts of Faith podcast. We're your host. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Shannon. We know how hard it can be to step out in faith and do what God is asking of you. There are so many challenges that we can face and can hold us back from walking in God's plan.
We want to encourage you to take that step of faith. Here, we will share stories big and small in hopes of inspiring you to answer your call. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Jesi Colston. This conversation feels like you are sitting down and having coffee with your best friend. Jesi is so sweet and really has a heart for God. She shares with us her recent act of faith has been to run for God. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are joined by our friend Jesi Colston. Jesi is a woman of faith, a wife, a mom of two, a teacher, actually has her PhD, which is very impressive, a leader in women's ministry, and a scuba diver, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do that. Welcome to the podcast, Jesi.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about this scuba diving because I want to hear more about it. When did this come about? How did you decide that you want to scuba dive?
Well, my husband, Brian, he was a Navy rescue swimmer. And so he is very skilled. And I trusted him to seek out this adventure. And we started scuba diving, I think, pretty early on in our relationship. And we were non-believers at the time. So scuba diving was different back then. And then once we became believers about 7 years ago, scuba diving has taken on a whole new meaning because we like to scuba dive in Grand Cayman. And I think that the aquatic life and the fish and everything that we see down there is just unbelievable. It's breathtaking. You're 60 feet underwater, 100 feet underwater, and there's like a 2-inch fish that has these amazing patterns and colors, and it's somewhat distracting. And thankfully, Brian is right there with me because I'll stop scuba diving and swimming and just stare at the fish, and I'm just in awe of God's creation. And then I have to realize, oh, I'm 100 feet underwater and I'm scuba diving. I'm supposed to be moving. I need to keep it going along here. So I think it's just taken that passion and that adventure to a whole nother level because before Brian, I would have never thought of ever scuba diving. I'm not that great of a swimmer and it is terrifying being underwater. I can feel claustrophobic at times, but I just remember like, God's got this. God's got me. Brian's here too. And we're going to have an awesome adventure underwater.
That's really cool.
That is so cool.
Your whole perspective changed on it when you became a believer and you became just more appreciative of the creativity from our creator. That's
Yeah, it's remarkable. And you get filled with like that peace beyond understanding because we went diving last summer in a known area where there were Caribbean reef sharks. So I wasn't nervous to encounter them because they frequent there.
that would be enough for me. Like, oh, they frequent here. I'm not going.
Well, so it's
You're brave.
Exactly.
it's safer because you know that they're going to be there and they know that you're going to be there. Like the dive,
Yeah, so
the
it's
dive,
not abnormal.
right?
For that.
The dive shops like take you to this specific site. So it's the sharks know that there are scuba divers there and we know that the sharks are there. I feel like it's more abnormal or scarier when you're out diving somewhere and you're not expecting a shark. Then you would freak out.
Okay.
So it's comforting to know before you get in the water that the sharks are going to be there or that they can be there. And then it's exciting because then you're catching it on camera, you're seeing it. It's like I can reach out and touch it. It's so close. Just again with God, you're like, again, God's got me. Like he's protecting me. He wants me to encounter this shark. He wants me to experience him on a whole nother level. And I don't say this just because, we're having a podcast about faith, but actually like last year when we were diving in Grand Cayman, I felt like Jesus was underwater with me, appreciating his creation. And I, again, felt that peace because like, you can get really freaked out being underwater, being in a
Yeah.
dark place or running out of air, or is there something wrong with my equipment? I feel like diving when I was a non-believer, I think I was more paranoid. I had to be more anxious underwater.
Wow.
Whereas now it's like, I'm good. Like, just stay calm, stay relaxed,
You can
enjoy
like
it.
enjoy it more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a really just amazing feeling when you're in a scenario where you feel the presence of God, or you feel you're like, Jesus is right here with me. No, you're not alone. Even though we know we're not alone ever,
Mm.
but it's a different feeling. So going scuba diving is an act of faith in itself.
Yes.
But that's not what you came to share today. So tell us about a different time that God has asked you to step out in faith.
Yes. All right. So you were talking about your walk earlier, and then I was going to segue into my run this morning. I had a harder run. I feel like this morning, and I really wanted to stop and start walking and take a break. Because these bones are aging, and I just turned up my music and just said, "God's got me. God created me. He's got this." And then that was my little mantra as I ran home. I said, "This is the last song. I'm gonna make it home." And I have little sayings that I say about God to get me there.
Yeah. So your act to faith is running, like just running.
Yes. So a few things have been happening recently. I just turned 39. So as I approach 40, I feel my body is aging and I want to be more appreciative of the body that God gave me. So a few months ago, I was talking to a friend, Haley. It's actually her birthday today. And
Happy birthday, Haley.
Well, that'll be late birthday when this airs. But
Yeah.
happy late.
We're thinking about you today.
just started running and she wanted to run a half marathon and I was so proud of her. And I was like, all right, Haley's running. Like I can run. I can do this. And then my mother-in-law had knee surgery. So then again, I wanted to be so thankful that I can walk. Like I have a body. I am athletic. I ran in high school. I ran track and cross country in college. I was a track coach for almost 10 years. Like running is in my blood. It's in my
Mhm.
family. My dad's a marathoner. And I just felt somewhat guilty that I was wasting my God given talent and not putting forth any effort in that area of my life. And I needed to get back into it. And so went out for a run, and now my alarm in my phone says, I run for God because he gave me this body. And so
Mm.
my run, I try to do it 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is for him. I do not like running anymore. I feel like I have burnt out. I'm over it. I don't want to do it. I only exercise before this if Brian wanted to. Brian wanted to work out in the gym. I'm right there with him. He wants to wake up early in the morning, go for a run. I'm right there with him. But I never ran since college, like for myself. I just didn't want to do it. And so now I'm only doing it because of God. And I created a playlist before I decided to start running at my table for beautiful moms. And I called it Dancing for Jesus because dancing sounds way more fun than running.
Yeah.
And so we had this playlist. So it's all my ladies, their favorite worship songs. We put this playlist together. Our table group text is called Dancing for Jesus. And then now it's become, for me, running. So I have my alarm that reminds me, I have my playlist. I only run to the playlist. And I'm even now probably going to be the crazy lady eventually in my neighborhood because there's a few songs that come on that have kind of the words that you can like do the motions to. So I'm running along and I'm like, it's your breath. And I'm pointing to the sky in my lungs. And I'm pointing to my chest. And and we praise you. And I got my hands run. So yeah, so I'm gonna be the crazy lady that's literally running for God. Then a few weeks after I started running, I thought of a t-shirt, right? Because you have to wear a t-shirt or tank top, to go for a run. And I was like, I would really love to have a shirt that says, I run for God on the front
Mhm.
because he gave me this body on the back. And then I was like, oh, I could give it to some of my friends, like Haley, who inspired me to run, or you, who also runs.
I'm
Because
so happy about this right now, by the way.
because when Stephanie called me, and not before I knew that what she was asking me to do, Stephanie called and she was like, hey, how's your morning going? And I was like, oh, should I tell her that I just got back from a run? Because I feel like if you tell someone you ran, like sometimes it seems braggish, like, oh, like I just got back from a run.
Ren,
But I
have made that.
but I don't want to be like that because I don't really even like running. But I was honest, right? Like, just get back from a run. And then she was like, oh, Shannon runs. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
then later on in the conversation when she said, I'd love to have you on the podcast and we're going to talk about acts of faith. And I was like, it's running. I knew it. That's why you called me. After I get back from the run and Shannon runs, it's going to be about running because this is what I'm doing for God right now is running.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so cool that it is, it's an act of exercise, moving your body, but it's for God. And sometimes we don't think of those little things. We're so, we can overlook that just privilege. It's a privilege to be able to use your body and move. And also, God intends for you to have those. We get serotonin from running. We get, dopamine is in all of those hormones He's given us, like ignite when we move. So that's so cool that you listen to the call. And do you feel better for it?
I feel, a little bit more energy. I feel happier. I feel more accomplished. I did tear my ACL my senior year in high school playing basketball, and I've had 3 knee surgeries after that. So I know what it's like to not have the ability to do those little things that we take for granted. And again, right, it's just being in touch with the word. I don't know if it's First Corinthians, but that's what just came to my mind. I think it's the part about like running the race. And when I was a new believer, I was so excited about that part because I didn't know much about the Bible. I was raised Catholic, and so learning scripture and applying it to my life, I didn't really understand how the Bible was still like alive and active. And then when I saw verses that were like about competition or about running or about something athletic, I really connected to those. And so I think just running, it's reminding me of that and just, yeah, appreciating that I have this ability because someday I'm not, right? Someday I'm going to get to the point where I'm too sore. I'm too old. My bones won't work and I won't be able to run anymore. And I don't want to have any regrets that I didn't utilize the talents that He gave me for the purpose that He gave me. That reminded me I forgot to say something about the shirt.
Yeah.
So with the shirt, I originally just, wanted to share my faith with people because that's how I share my faith with people now because I don't like to start conversations or get nervous starting with people, but I do wear a lot of shirts that are scripture based. And so I feel comfortable like this is my evangelism is through my shirts and people will feel comfortable or they will start the conversation because my shirt will have a scripture or it'll say something about Jesus. And so I was like, oh yes, this can continue my shirts, my safety in my shirts for scriptures, but it would be about running. And so when I'm out running in my neighborhood, I also thought that would help open up more conversations and I can fellowship while I'm running with the shirts. And then Brian has started a business and he was like, oh, well, I could sell my shirts or it could be like charity work or something. So I was like, there was an outlet. Because as I was running one day, God was like, you should create a shirt, like with your saying, and so I was just going to do the shirt for me. But then when Brian said something, I was like, oh, then I could maybe extend that. So we'll see. So maybe some shirts. And that would have been really cool if I would have executed that, and they had some shirts for the podcast, but maybe
Maybe you
sometime in the
came here.
future.
Please.
Yeah.
I would love that. And I love that you had that thought on a run and that's your next act, right? In faith is to make the shirt.
I would love that. Well, and my mother.
I'm going to follow up with you. Did you make
Okay.
your shirt yet?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love it.
I'm going to be your accountability person.
Awesome.
So when you experience hurdles, when that alarm goes off, when you're in the middle of your run and you're just like, oh, I'm tired. God, I don't want to do this. How do you get over that? Or what do you cling to in those moments?
Yeah. So right now, I have committed to running Monday, Wednesday, and Friday
Mm.
when I get home from dropping the kids off at school. And sometimes I have 20 minutes, sometimes I have 30 minutes, sometimes I only have 10 minutes. But no matter how much time I have, I do it because I said I'm going to do it. and I made that promise to God that I'm gonna do it, and, He has made so many promises to me and blessings for me that I can't give Him 10 minutes of my day. I'm not okay with that. So once I commit to something, I'm all in.
Mm.
Even if it's a slow run, or even
Mhm.
if I don't feel that great, I feel like I am battling a few injuries already. I had a stress fracture in the ball of my foot in high school,
Mhm.
and I felt that injury kind of coming back. And so Brian, being the wonderful listener that he was, he bought me a new pair of running shoes for my birthday.
Nice.
So the running shoes has been helping with the commitment, and alleviating the pain. And it's only been a few months, so it's not like I've been running for a long time so far. But I will keep it up because again, I have breath in my lungs,
Mhm.
that he gave me, and that truly is my inspiration while I'm running. It doesn't matter how fast I can go because Brian asks me, and other people ask me too, "Oh, how far did you run today?"
Mhm.
Or "How many minutes did you run?" I don't know. And they're like, "Really? Like your watch says it?" But I don't look because I'm not running for time. I'm not running for a race. I'm not running to get in shape. I'm running for God, truly. Like
Mm.
it's so crazy because that is so not like me and who I was before I was a non-believer because I was a collegiate athlete. Like
Right.
I was highly competitive. As a coach, I was the loudest track coach in Las Vegas. I may get back into the coaching world at some point. I would love to coach again. It's just not conducive to my schedule right now with teaching and raising my little kids.
This isn't about being competitive. This isn't about getting healthy, although, of course, it does help you to stay healthy, but it's more so about you honoring God with your body. You're choosing to move your body in this way to honor God and the gift that He's given you of being able to move your body at all. So that's just wonderful because we forget that
Mhm.
our ability
Absolutely.
to move and do things comes from God. It is a gift,
Mhm.
and we should make sure that we're honoring God with our bodies and ask ourselves that question: Are we actually doing that? Are we using the gifts that he's given us? Or are we just kinda letting it sit and just be there?
Right.
You're not using it. It's this gift that you've been given, and are you just kinda letting it waste away?
It's like your sacrifice almost, like,
Mhm.
it's an act of worship, and which is so great because there's so much more purpose behind what you're doing, and I bet you even have, like, that time too is you're talking to God. You put the shirt on your heart. I know that when I'm on a run, that's, like, when God speaks to me. He's like, "You don't have any other distractions going on." He's like, "I'm gonna talk to you now." And so I love that you see so much bigger purpose than weight loss or being competitive or showing off or getting a certain time.
Yeah. And the fact that you keep doing it, like, what gets you through it is your commitment that you made to God to do it.
Mm,
And that's something I think we can easily be like, well, God will understand if I don't do it today, or I'm just not feeling that great. He'll understand. I'll be okay. But you made a commitment. You said you were going to do something, and you're following through with it. That's what keeps you going during the run. Is I
right.
told God I would do this, and I'm going to do it. I find that when I made those commitments to God, I follow through way more than if it's, like, to myself. But it is, like you said, it's an act of worship when you actually follow through with what you've said to God that you're going to do, and it can be easy for us sometimes to not follow through.
And we've got the Holy Spirit's conviction too. When we aren't doing it, we've got this annoying, like, he's talking to us, but you said so. If it's just a promise to ourselves, we don't have that. The Spirit is not for us, it's from Him for us. And so that conviction too, like, you're like, all right, gotta do this. Like, he's talking to me. I
Yeah.
love that.
Well, I've even had to change up the days of the week sometimes to honor
Hmm.
that commitment. So Brianna had a field trip a couple Fridays ago. And I knew that ahead of time, so I went and ran on Thursday instead
Mhm.
because I wasn't gonna get my Friday run in. So then I was doing 2 days back to back.
Mhm.
But again, that's not the point. It was the commitment that I made. So I was also, kind of impressed that I didn't just say, "Oh," or and my birthday was on a Friday too, but I still went for a run or I went the day before. So it was like I said, "I'm gonna do this," and 3 days a week, I feel like is not that big of a commitment. I mean, it's not like I said I'm gonna do it every day or whatever. So 3 days a week, sticking to it.
I love that. I'm coming with you one time.
Yeah, come on.
I will
I
walk
love
behind you.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, you're a light.
What do you like about running? I know you don't love it, but what is something that you like this aspect of it?
And why did God and there has to be something in that too, like, why not a different form of exercise to move your
Yeah.
body? What is it about running that you love so much? Or that yeah.
You felt God wanting you to go back to running.
I felt running probably because my relationship with my father is not the best right now. And my dad is a marathon runner and he still runs and works out. He's 71, something around that. And that would bring us closer. And that would be another topic of conversation for us to talk about because my dad has bought most of my running shoes throughout my life. He had a friend that used to work at the Nike store in Oregon. So I've been a Nike shoe wearer my entire life. I love Nike shoes. Yeah, and so I would be able to talk to him about shoes at some point, and also it would help me reach out and call him
Mhm.
because he has recently moved away. And so I don't see him on a day-to-day basis anymore. And we can be so busy in life and so caught up, what's in front of us. I truly believe in out of sight, out of mind. And so I don't even remember to call him like every week. And I feel bad about that. I do need to be better about calling him more often. And so with running, I can call him about my runs. I can call him about shoes. I will definitely call him about a t-shirt and injuries. I think I have already called him about my, knee. So I've had prior knee surgeries, and so, I think I called him one morning and was like, "Hey, like, I'm feeling some knee pain. Like, what do you think I should do? Who should I talk to? What course of action should I take?" And so that was, I think, first couple weeks into running. I had already called and reached out to him about running. Also, that was a really another interesting God moment about running. So we were hoping to make some more money on the side, right? Everybody can use some more money. And so, if I got a curriculum job on the side, that would be more income. And I usually use any of my extra money for travel because I love to travel. And also with scuba diving, you got to travel.
Mhm.
And so I had been praying about, us being financially responsible and financially freedom and all things financial. And then when I was running for a couple of times and I called my dad, I was thinking, I need to go find that knee brace. I know I have a knee brace because I have a knee injury. And I went to my closet, the only place the knee brace could be, and found an envelope full of cash.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if I started crying right away, but that was God. Because if I hadn't started running, I hadn't I wouldn't have gotten injured. I wouldn't have needed my knee brace.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have found the envelope full of a lot of cash.
Mhm.
And we had lived in the house for 4 or 5 years. So that cash had to have been in that bin for 4 or 5 years. I mean, I don't ever
Yeah.
remember putting the money in there. I don't even know why it was in there. It was just in there and right next to my knee brace. And then the next day, I mean, I wore that knee brace to school or like to pick up my kids from school. I like was debating whether to get out of the car and car line at school because I was in that much pain. Like
Yeah.
I was in a lot of knee pain. Like I'm calling my dad. I'm thinking I'm going to see the doctor on Monday. But I was like, let's just see how it goes over the weekend. So it's like I'm in excruciating pain on a Friday wearing my knee brace. I think then I found the money. I prayed about it. Like next morning, wake up. nothing. No
Wow.
pain, nothing. You're totally healed. I had prayed for miraculous healing. So for me, it was like God wanted me to find that money. I
Yeah.
had to suffer a little bit through the knee pain to get it, and then prayed for miraculous healing. And the next morning, I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. God showing up in the midst of just, yeah.
And amazing that this running is really a way that you can connect with your dad on a different level, in a different way to keep you just connected. Yeah.
You have such a good heart, Jesse. Like
Thank you.
you could do CrossFit or whatever, but you choose running because it also connects you to your dad, and I think that that is just beautiful. You obviously love him a lot.
I do.
Yeah. And gosh, he's like a marathoner and everything, so he knows he's passionate about it as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Running is probably one of his number one priorities in life.
Yeah.
Um, I hope to be healthy and able to run for a long time like him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, he's into the 70s and he's still running.
Faster than me. I was hoping when I was younger, at some point, I would catch up to him and be able to beat him. I don't think that's gonna happen, and that's okay because right now at this stage in life, it's not about the competition
No.
or being faster than him, but man,
But it also shows how healthy he is to be able to continue to run at a pace that, like that, he's keeping up. I mean, I know I couldn't. You have a connection with in running, but what do you pull that you can enjoy while you're running? Is there anything?
I would say while I'm running, I think I have more freedom and less stress because my day is very scheduled with the kids, with school, with pickup times, even with my students. My students call me at certain times. So I'm very aware of time. And I think sometimes that can be really unhealthy, but also puts into perspective. Like you only have so much time each day,
Mhm.
and you only have so much time here on earth. Now, I mean, I'm excited to get to heaven, don't get me wrong, but you only have so much time here on earth to make an impact, to leave a legacy for your kids, to leave a legacy in your workplace. And so I get very caught up in time, or sometimes I lose track of time and then I have to apologize to my students. I'm sorry, I'm a few minutes late because I was doing something else. So the time for running is a time for me, a time that I can be at peace and I can kind of let my mind wander or not be thinking about what's next. So I do enjoy kind of the quiet of it. And I am trying to be more neighborly. Again, I feel like this day and age, people are not outside their house very often. So then when I'm running, I see a few more of my neighbors and I always make it a point to wave or say good morning. And I think that's also something that we have really lost this day and age. People don't talk to each other. People don't even make eye contact. People don't look at you. And I think that's one thing as a runner I have always done. And I'm probably sure that this came from my dad because my dad and I would run together from time to time. And I think we always like did like the little runners wave, like the little hand up, like, hey, or kind of like good luck or good morning or whatever.
Or just a smile?
Or just this, right. Like, it's just so awkward to me when you're walking by another human being
Uh,
and they don't acknowledge you
right.
or like they look down on the ground on purpose or they're so stuck in their phone. So I think that's another thing that I've been enjoying about running is kind of spreading that joy and just kind of like, oh, and the other thing is I do not wear headphones. I blast my Jesus music.
Oh, so
I'm
people can
so
hear it
I'm
coming
running,
by.
yep, I'm running around the
Like that.
neighborhood with my music blasting because I don't want to wear earbuds. I mean, obviously we have the wireless ones nowadays, but I don't want it to fall out of my ear. I don't want to be distracted by that. So I blast my music so my neighbors can hear whatever song is playing. And also as I'm walking by people, I'm like, maybe this song might trigger something for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they know this song, or maybe they're curious about it. Or I feel like songs really stick with you and you have a lot of memories based upon songs. And so I'm sharing the music, also doing my crazy motions and waving to people. So if anyone wants to come running to Land Lakes, you'll probably see me out there being the crazy lady
Here.
running for Jesus.
Hear her.
I like that.
Oh, Jesus loves them. I love that you're just blasting it. That I've never even thought to do that. I just think that's going along. I love that. I love that you talked about kind of just being in this peaceful time when you're running. Like you just kind of have, and I think this is something that we've lost the time to just let our minds wander,
Yeah.
the time for God to actually just speak to us while we're walking or you're running. Um, it is. There's something about just going out and walking or running and it's just like this peace just comes over you, this calmness, because you were not distracted by the things you need to do, what's in your house, what's going on with your kids over here, your husband, or what's on the news. It's kind of like this place where everything else just kind of falls away for a short period of time. And it's really lovely.
Mhm.
I enjoy it, and my body craves it now that I've
Mhm.
started walking regularly. When I don't, it's like that, but I feel that I didn't get it, you know?
Yeah.
It is a moment where it just does. It kinda creates this calmness in your body for the whole day,
Right.
and I enjoy it very much. We're losing that peaceful time, the time to wonder. We're losing that time to engage with other people. And we're just kinda letting it pass, like, we're not doing a whole lot about it, but you are. This running creates that you're being intentional. Even though you're going out, you're running, don't necessarily love it right now, I think you're gonna love it again. You're using it as an opportunity not only to honor God, but to evangelize, to share God with other people. Whether it's just them hearing your music as you're coming by, them seeing it on the shirt that you're wearing, what a great way to start incorporating that again, the neighborly aspect of life that we've kind of gone away.
Yeah. I don't think garages help either because then you
No,
just pull into your garage and you shut the
mm,
door. And so there's not even any opportunity for anybody
no,
to say hi to
That's
you.
so true.
And God specifically moved us in the house that we are in because we went to a different church but when we first moved to Tampa. And I'm pretty sure on move in day, our neighbors were outside, thankfully, and we introduced ourselves. And then they asked, "Where do you go to church?" Or we asked, "Where do you go to church?" And they said, "We go to Grace Family Church." And we said, "Great, we'll come check it out with you." So we now go to Grace Family Church because of our neighbors, and we have a great relationship with our neighbors. They are so amazing. They're so thoughtful. They led our first married life group. So we started going to married life because of them, because they were the table leaders. And now, a few years later, Jess goes to Beautiful Moms and sits at my table, and I'm her table leader. So I know that we live in that house because God wanted us there. And that's so interesting because we have moved 3 or 4 times in our marriage, and I never thought about that. Again, because we were non-believers at first, I never thought why I lived in a certain house,
yeah,
right? There are so many listings. There are so many cities that you could live in.
yeah,
There are so many different places that you could be on this earth in this time period. And then to really think and realize and analyze, wow, I live in this particular house because he wanted me to meet my neighbors, because that's going to change my church, because that's going to change the school that
mhm,
my kids go to. And it's really mind blowing and it helps me keep in perspective God's plan,
yeah.
right? I'm like, if this is God's will, for us to stay at the same school, K through 12, that would be amazing.
You're right. Like it's important to remember you're there for a reason. You're in that house for a reason. You're
Hmm.
in that job for a reason.
Hmm.
God has you there for a purpose. And so we can reach a lot of people in our neighborhoods and in our schools. And just by having that perspective, we're here for a reason. We
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah, we definitely do. We need to be the light of Christ wherever we go, and he puts you in that place to do that. I love that your neighbors brought you to our church because you wouldn't be sitting here today. We wouldn't have been inspired by your message. We wouldn't, all of those like
Oh,
little
absolutely.
things,
These dominoes.
just the domino effect.
Oh,
Yeah, of God.
huge domino. I mean, our marriage is stronger because of grace, because of
Yeah.
going to all of the classes that we offer. I mean, I'm not like leader material. I don't see myself in that role. I don't like the added responsibility. I like to be the person that can kind of bend the rules a little bit. And when you're a leader, you're not really supposed to do that. So I like, I mean, the fact that, yeah, I'm in a leadership role. I'm guiding other moms. Like I'm helping them in their walk with Christ, which again is crazy because I've only been a believer for like 7 years. God has all these little steps. Now, some of the steps leading up to becoming a believer, I still wrestle with that. I have some questions for God. Like, why did I have to tear my ACL? That was
Yeah.
really
Right.
uncomfortable. Why did I have to get all those extra knee surgeries? But again, like that could still come to fruition, or that could have changed the trajectory of where I went to college and then how I ended up in Las Vegas and then how I met Brian. And
Where
you
did
know,
you go to college?
I went to a smaller college in Missouri first. I went to Southeast Missouri State. And then after a year, I redshirted as a freshman because of my ACL injury.
Uh-huh.
And then after a year, I switched colleges and I went to Mizzou, at the University of Missouri, Columbia.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, had a good time there.
What were your track events?
I ran indoor the 400 and the 600,
Oh, you were
and then I
short
ran
distance.
outdoor the 800. So yeah, growing up, I was middle distance.
Yeah.
I was 400, 4x4,
Well, no wonder you don't like
800,
running.
4x8.
So going for a long run when you're like middle distance or short distance, you're like, I remember they'd pull those girls and make them run cross country some years, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't stand this." When we'd have to go on like a 5 or 6 mile run or whatever, they'd be like, "This is not for me." 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I did run cross country in high school as well. So I ran cross country. I went to 2 different high schools too, so I ran cross country, and I did really well as a freshman, and they had really high hopes for me, and I ran track, and I broke some school records as a freshman at my first school. So again, had high hope. Like, I know as a coach, like, how excited coaches get when you have pretty awesome freshmen, and I don't wanna toot my own horn, but I mean, I broke school records as a freshman, so I feel like I had, possibilities to be state champion, be, really great runner.
Yeah.
Also kind of like big fish in little pond, I think syndrome kind of happened. And so then I had the opportunity to transfer schools to a better school with a better track team. And that year or the next year, we ended up winning state. We broke the 4x8 state record. So, I mean, to get to be a part of a team like that was awesome and helped, inspire my ability to coach and continue using running, which apparently is my gift, even though it's not my favorite thing. Um, it's really cool just to see, what you can do when you put your mind to it. And then now to like let God in, like we really changed that.
Yes, sorry.
Do we want to do our last question, Steph?
Yes. What was your favorite event in track and field that you did? If you could still do it today and compete with it, which one would it be?
The 800,
The
Mm-hmm.
800?
the 800, I think the 400 is too short that you can't really pace yourself. And when I coached my sprinters, I always had a hard time convincing them of that. You would start out strong, but not a complete sprint, because you still have, 300 more meters to go.
Right.
You gradually kind of pick it up and maintain. The mile is too long. There's also more elements because you could get boxed in, if you're on the inside trying to do the turns. So track is fun because it's strategic, and you're always going the same direction. But the mile was too long, you could get boxed in. The 800 was just long enough that I have God-given talent. I have the speed that I could turn it on when I needed to. And I also worked on the endurance. Since I ran cross country, I did have the foundation of the long distance runs. 5 or 6 miles was enough for me. And it just was long enough to also be suspenseful for the crowd.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm definitely a crowd pleaser in the end. Again, because I think my dad raised me that way and trained me that way, that when I do road races, it's been a while, but I have done my fair share of road races over these 39 years. And just finishing hard, like that last minute or that last half mile, and just letting the crowd kind of like build you up and cheer you on and run you in. And passing people at the end is so exciting.
Oh, yeah.
People love it, so it's like you kind of get like the runner's
They don't know what's
high.
coming.
Yes,
I feel it
They're
too.
like, thank you for sharing this story and all these amazing details of track and everything else.
thank you for having me.
Let's all go for a run. I'm ready. I'm amped up now.
Thanks for listening. We are so glad you joined us.
We hope you'll tune in next week for another great episode.